check is here. So come along inside with me. We'll get this tore apart. We'll see how much money I made off of 5 old cull cows. These were about 10-year-old cows. They were starting to have issues with some foot issues, udder issues, breed back issues. So all in all, they were still in pretty good body condition. So I sold those, and let's tear this apart. We'll see how much money I made off those 5 cows, the expenses, just kind of how the process to check all that's laid out. So let's go inside and we'll see what we got. Come along. Alrighty, so here we go. We'll just run through this real quick. This is the receipt that I got off the check that was sent over to my house. I marked out the relevant or the irrelevant information, such as the name of the sale barn where I sold it. I don't have anything bad to say about them. It's just didn't really matter as to where I sold those at. Just more or less, wherever you sell, you're going to come up with kind of the same basic layout. So we'll just kind of run over this and what this means. So I sold these, as you can see here, on 6/4/2025. So this was a recent sale. The cattle market is up really high right now. So that's the reason I decided to sell. I've got another video here, kind of my philosophy on why I sold, what I did, and where I'm going to go back. So if you're interested in that, look for that one, check it out. So I've got 5 head. We sold 5 head. So this right here is a description of what was sold. This is the slip number that they used whenever they checked me in. Whenever we dropped those cows off, that slip number was assigned to me. The tag number is the tag that the sale barn put on the back of those animals, kind of help them with taking that through their system to keep track of. You'll notice a lot of times that whenever cows sell or breeding stock of some kind, that they will have a tag on their back. It's a glued on tag. That is what that is. Feeder cattle, calves, whenever you sell those, typically, at least in a larger sale barn stockyard, they do not put tags on those typically, but on cows, they do. So as we already said, we sold 5 of them. I asked the vet to preg check those cows for me if they happened to be pregnant. They had calves on them, even if they were like early stage. They potentially could have brought in additional money. The replacement market's pretty high right now. So this right here indicates that they were all open, as you can see here. If they were bred, they would have had a designation there, either first, second, or third stage, and these are zeros or open. So that means they are not bred. This is who bought these particular cows. It looks like they sold those cows, as you can see in the video of them. They were kind of a varied bunch, kind of a little group that was put together. So they didn't really all look the same. They weren't the same body condition, all that. So sale barn a lot of times will sort those off to get you the maximum amount in their eyes. So if they were all the same quality, same type, they would have sold them in one lot. Because they weren't, they broke those off. So we have 3 head that was sold, and the purchaser was SIMP. The one was sold off by itself. The purchaser on that was JBS. And then the other one that was sold, that was split off by itself, was SIMP5. So all that is just letting the sale barn know who bought those cows, who has to pay for those. So if they don't sort those off, what happens a lot of times is the lowest quality animal in that draft kind of drags everything else down. So by sorting off those ones that they thought would bring a lower price, it helped the overall price that I received for those. So other thing we have on here is the average. So in this draft of 3, let's erase some of this. We're getting kind of messy on here. Getting a lot going on. So we'll erase some of that. So this draft of right here, this average, this draft of 3 right here, the 3 combined, they weigh 3,450 pounds. So 3,450 divided by 3, the average is 1,150. So they averaged 1,150 pounds apiece. They brought 156, and that's per hundredweight. So $1.56 per pound is what that equaled out to. And that draft of 3 cows brought $5,382. And then you can follow that same philosophy across all these lines. This one, this one. And then, get rid of all that real quick. Then we come down here to the gross amount. So that's what I received on those before all the fees were taken out. The fees, the expenses, all of those things. BFC right here, that stands for the beef checkoff. That is a requirement where I live, that is, you don't get a say in that the money goes to the beef checkoff fund. The purpose of that is to help promote and market beef. The old saying, beef, it's what's for dinner, whenever they had those ads out there, all of that was funded by the beef checkoff. So the feed right here was $22.50. And that was because I took those the day before the sale. So the sale for me was on a Wednesday. I dropped these off Tuesday night so we could get those preg checked. And it was also the best time for the guy who hauled them and the best time for me because I could do it in the evening after I got home from work. So I didn't have to take off work. The hauling fee, it cost me $150 to haul those over there. I hired it done. As you can see here, there was a fellow that hauls those for me. I highly recommend that if you hire that out, if you are not hauling a lot of cattle every year, the maintenance, the upkeep, just the overall cost. If you're just hauling a handful of loads every year, hire it out. Those guys, professional guys, they really help you out tremendously as far as getting those hauled out and loaded. Livestock protection, that's a form of insurance that the sale barn puts on there for me. SCOM, right here below it, this is the commission. So this is the commission that the sale barn earned on selling those cows for me. They earned $285.18 to sell those cows, which seems like a lot, kind of, but at the same time, they do provide a really good service, a reputable barn. You're going to get your money. You don't have to worry about bad checks and things like that. Vet inspection on those was $45. And that was the standard vet inspection and then the preg checking as well on those. So there was a little bit of extra on there, and then they always add this. There's an extra $1 vet inspection, and I don't know why they separate those out, but that's what they do. So my total fees ended up being $540.69. So all in all, I had a little over $100 in fees per cow, is how that worked out on cows. So my gross, again, this 950610 is right here. and then they deduct my charges from there. They negative that out, and so what's left is $8,965.41 is the actual money that I took home off of selling 5 cows. And I mean, you always hope, you always wish for more, but all in all, considering what those cows were, the age of those cows, I was really happy with that. The market that I sold on that day was a good market. The price per pound right here, the $1.56 and $1.56. Looking at the market report, the USDA report for that particular auction on that day at that barn, the slaughter cattle, they're broke into categories. So breaker, boner, lean, breaker being the best. The breaker cattle, the average price on breaker cattle that day on the drafts that they reported on, they ranged from, $1.40 on the low end to $1.71 on the high side, with the averages being about $1.51 and $1.60 on the 2 drafts. So I'm right in between there. I'm right at the average price at $1.56. So no complaints there. Hindsight, I weaned some calves off of these, and I gave them a little bit of time to recoup weight, but I probably should have held those just a little longer. And I got in a rush, and I sold them, but I probably should have held them because I probably could have added some pretty cheap gain onto those if I just would have waited and let them graze on the grass. We have really good grass right now. We're in June, early June, with lots of rain. So I probably could have squeezed a few more bucks out of there. Hindsight's always 20/20. But as I said, all in all, I'm very happy with that. $8,965 on those cows. Whenever I bought those cows, I gave $1,400 for a pair on those. This was a couple years ago. And so I had $7,000 in those 5 cows that I paid for them. But I also had they came with a calf on their side, and then I sold off 2 additional calf crops. So I sold off three calf crops off of those, plus the residual here off of these cows. So, well, I hope that little rundown was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll put them down in the comments. I'll do my very best to answer those. If I don't know, I'll let you know that I don't know. So, like I said, hope this was helpful. Join us as we go along. We kind of have these videos every week. At least that's what I try to do. So come along and join along on all the fun. So we will catch you next time. We'll see you then. Adios.